Saving your first £10,000 or $10,000 feels impossible, doesn't it? I used to think it was for people with bigger salaries or people without kids. But I was wrong. In fact, hitting that first 10k was one of the most eye-opening moments of my financial journey. When I first started saving, it felt like such a faraway dream, something that I would never expect myself to be able to achieve. But then when I sat and looked at it, the reality was I was now on the other side, because I'd paid off £100,000 worth of debt. Then making the switch was suddenly so much easier. As I was chipping away and chunking off all those debts, I was doing it in really small bite-sized pieces, and I realised that exact same process could then be transferred and reapplied to saving money as well. And in fact, I would actually have more support and help on my side, because I was no longer paying off the debt and the interest. I was now going to be saving. Somebody was going to giving me the interest. When I first started this whole journey, started doing all of this, I was overwhelmed. I had, bills, I had kids to care for, and all the little things that made life so much more expensive. Plus, it seemed like such a huge goal. It felt so far away. Something only the wealthy or those without children could ever possibly consider achieving. But what I learned on that journey changed everything. And that is what I want to share with you today on this channel. Let me break it down for you. For most people, 10k seems like an unrealistic goal. Maybe you're on a tight budget, or you've got more exciting things to spend your money on right now. I get it, absolutely. But when you break it down, it is not as impossible as it seems. To save 10k in just 1 year, you would need to save £27.40 every single day. Now, I'm not saying that you have to save that 10k in 1 year, but if you do want to do that, I've got a video for you right here that talks you through the 27-40 rule. But even if you're not up for doing that within a year, it is still doable over a short period of time. It is just your perception and how you perceive it that needs to change slightly. If you think, how easy is it to just waste £27.40 in one go, in one moment, in one day, every time you pick up something extra at the store, quick impulse buy here, a nice bottle of wine at the end of an evening there, beauty sale you didn't even realise you needed. You might not notice that money just slipping away, but if you cut out those small impulse buys, you're already halfway to your goal. It's all about making those small sacrifices and being a lot more mindful of where your money goes. It's one of the reasons I started using cash so much more, because you physically saw the money leaving. It was so much easier to want to keep hold of the cash and not watch the pile of money decrease over a month. I wanted to save it. I didn't want to spend it. Whereas when I was hitting my card, it was a lot different, because I wasn't spending money. I was just tapping some plastic. And that mindset shift was the game changer for me. But here's the truth that nobody actually tells you. 10k does not make you rich, but it does change everything. It's not about private jets or buying a mansion, but it's about the peace of mind that comes knowing that you have now got yourself a safety net. You've got yourself a little bit of a buffer should anything occur, anything go wrong. If you need an outlet or an escape, or if you need a little bit of breathing space, you have now got that for you. And not only do you have that, but the peace of mind that it brings with it is phenomenal. When I hit the 10k, I realized I no longer needed to live paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have to worry about the what ifs anymore. I had time to think. I had time to spend wondering over my own career choices. More freedom to spend time with my kids without having to stress and worry about money. I already knew how to live a life on a shoestring budget, but then having got all that money to one side saved meant that I can continue to live the life that we're familiar with, that we used to on a shoestring budget, but know that I've got something in my corner, something backing me up if I needed it. It's not just about the saving, it's about changing the way that you think about money. Once you get to that 10k, you stop seeing things as an endless sacrifice and you start to see things as a strategy. It's like a game of chess. You learn how to make your money work for you instead. Instead of spending your time worrying about how to make ends meet, you begin to see how compound progress works. Interest starts to add up faster and you have more financial control. And here's the kicker. It doesn't just stop at 10k. When you hit that first milestone, and if you've been watching the videos on this channel and you're in the right mindset, then you absolutely will. When you hit that first milestone, it's not just about reaching 10k. It's about momentum. The next 10k is easier, it's faster, and it gets easier with every single day that you keep going. Once you've got that first 10k, you start to see things differently. Saving becomes more about growth than survival. You feel more confident in your choices. You don't feel as panicked when you make a decision because you've got something to fall back on if it should go wrong. That fear of making the wrong choice fades because you've got that stability, you've got that breathing space if you need it. You stop making decisions based on fear or can I afford it or what if something breaks. And now saving doesn't feel like a chore anymore. Instead, it's a game. You start thinking about your next goals, like getting to 20k or even 30k. You're no longer focused on the struggle. You're focused on the possibilities. You've proven to yourself that you can do it. And that belief is everything. The reality is that once you've saved that first 10k, you realize how much easier it is to save even more. Your mindset shifts. You no longer think, what is the point in saving? I'll never be rich. Instead, you start thinking, what could happen if I could just keep going? What about just a little bit more? You stop seeing saving as a sacrifice and you start to see it as an investment in your future self. So let's talk about the numbers because this is where it gets interesting. Saving 10k is just the beginning. When you have got 10k in a savings account earning 4% interest, that's £400 a year just from doing nothing. And if you add absolutely nothing else at all and just let it sit for 5 years, at the end of that time, you'll have £12,200. That's £2,200 gained completely passively by doing nothing. Once you've got the money in the bank, you don't have to do all the work. The money will do some of that heavy lifting for you. And here's where it really starts to get interesting. Compound interest. The more you save, the faster your money grows. This isn't just about saving 10k. It's about setting yourself up for a future where your savings can start to work and look after you, not just sitting there. Now imagine you take that 10k and start investing. Over the long term, investing gives you better returns than just letting it sit in a savings account. Do have to emphasize that saving is a long-term strategy and it is absolutely not for everyone. But when I invest, I do it knowing that I'm locking that money away for my future self. It's about playing the long game. The best part is it's easier to hit your second 10k than it was to reach your first one. You're not starting from scratch anymore. Your money is working for you and that momentum builds faster. For example, let's say you invest £100 a month and get an average return of 7%. In just under 7 years, you'll hit 10k. But then the magic happens. With the returns you've earned, your next 10k will only take about 5 years. It's a snowball effect. And once you see it working, it gets easier to keep going. Once you get to that 10k, the next 10k feels and is so much more achievable. And from there, the numbers only get bigger. And it's about the consistency, not perfection. Maybe some months you'll save more and other months a little less, and that's absolutely okay. Key is that you keep going and that belief in yourself doesn't waver. If you're just starting your journey or you're feeling stuck at just £600, do not get discouraged. It's not too late and you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. That is the secret. That's how you get to 10k and beyond. So is 10k going to make you rich? No, but it will change everything. It gives you the security to make better decisions, the freedom to take risks, and the proof that you can build wealth even if it is slowly. The key? Consistency over time. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to keep going. And soon enough, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd absolutely love it if you would go ahead and consider subscribing. Have yourself an amazing day, and I will see you really soon. Bye.